Hello, we're going to be assembling this Book of the Dead prop from the Mummy, and basically in this video we're just going to be installing these shafts for the main spine, and then we're also going to be putting in the shafts for the clasps. Now, this piece starts as two, and it gets glued in the center, and the end caps are threaded. So it's quite easy if there's ever any kind of repair needed, or we can just slide this thing out, throw a new one in there, and same for the locking mechanism. So the reason we're going to start with this side is because you may have to flex or move the pages a little bit to get it to align and slide it through as you go, as you put each washer in between the pages. Now, the washers, except for the thicker ones that go on either side of this centerpiece, um, those ones aren't really super necessary, but it does tighten the whole thing up. There's the thicker one. So there's two of these thicker ones that go on either side of the centerpiece here and here, and then there's 20 for the remaining. So we'll go ahead and get started here on this piece. Now, the washers can be really tricky because you got to kind of hold them in between. So I use this pick, this little rounded pick here. So if it does kind of slide down, I can pop it up and then get it as I'm rotating it. So try to get a little bit more room in here. Okay. Sometimes I can get it just with my finger, and it might help if you keep it a little bit snug. So as I slide that in, it's going to catch on that threaded bit probably. So that's kind of the main issue, is you may have to pop it up to get it above that front threaded piece, which is not the end of the world. That one looks like it got into place straight away. There it goes. Okay, so that first one's in. You want to be prepared for these to drop a bunch of times, but not the end of the world, just slightly annoying. So I'm going to use the pick here to kind of pop it into place, and you can feel it right as it goes over the edge. There we go. And if you have areas that have larger gaps, it's not too big a deal, because it'll all even out eventually. There we go. So that one I was able to get with just my finger into the first page. And this is just one of the tricky parts with this piece, is if any of these hinges are just slightly off, maybe a little bit thicker glue than the next one, it can kind of kink it a little bit. Just a small amount, enough to make it not want to line up. This one's a little tricky. So there's a little bit of flex in there you can get away with. This one wants to be tricky. There it goes. See, I already dropped one. You can kind of feel if that threaded piece is sticking out too far, and it won't let the washer drop in. So you kind of want to push it in as far as it's going to go. Let's see. Sometimes just rotating it will seat it into place. Oh, nope, not that case. This is probably, I would say, my 10th or 11th time doing this. There it goes. It can seem a little bit tedious, but I think the end result is worth it. it go? Yep. In. And if any of these page hinges break off on you from the pages, it's a simple fix. Any kind of CA glue, just kind of super glue with activator spray. I use AK Fix from Amazon. Very, very strong stuff, and it cures up in just seconds. Does not want to go in. Just use the pick to open the gap up, and then it should slide in. Sometimes if they're tight, it kind of helps keep the washer in place so it doesn't just drop out the bottom. There we go. There it is. Sometimes you can hear a little click. That one went right in there. No problem. When you get to this stage, you can kind of just use your finger on the other side until we get to the centerpiece. Right there. This one doesn't want to cooperate now. Can you do it? Boom. Okay, so then we're going to set aside our two thicker ones. Centerpiece. I like to start by just kind of sticking it in with those already on the side. If I can get both of them. So there's going to be a little bit of extra pressure holding those in the middle between the other two pieces, the other two hinges, so it can help to, if it wants to go. Otherwise, we'll just slide it in after. Start with the first one. So you can get a little bit of play. Okay, first side went in, not too bad. You can actually kind of slide these over a little bit if you need a little extra room. But the thing is, you're not going to get much because these two are going to be from the same page 6. So sliding the pages back and forth for this centerpiece is not really going to do too much. But like I said, you can get a little bit of flex in there. I'll try to shove it in where it's not going to break. It's not like a super brittle material. If anything, the glue would probably pop off if you push too hard. Oh, dropped another one. This is probably the most difficult one. The tightest fitting washer of the whole bunch. Let's see if I can. Just need to get one little edge in there. I'm going to use the pick to kind of wedge it in there. Get a little flex. There it is. So I can back off that pick. Get on out of there. Just push it on down. And just try to manipulate it to get towards the center. I'll line that thing up. A little bit of elbow grease. actually tell if it's all the way through. I don't think so. So it should sit a little bit farther down. Let's see if we can put this one in too. I think it's real tight. This next one's not going to be happy to go in either. Let's see if we can get that in. Of course, once this is all open and you're opening and closing the pages, it'll all kind of uniformly blend in. I didn't think that was going to go. Come on. No way. It was through. Wow, I couldn't even tell. It took put in the next washer into place to see if it would let it pass through. And it did. There we go. Next. It doesn't want to go, does it? It's a stubborn one. That one would have been through. I guess not. Didn't pass through this one yet. So I'm completely nuts. This one didn't go either. There it goes. Click is kind of helpful to see that it went in. On this particular piece, we haven't done the final weathering. Once it's assembled, make it look all dusty and like it's been buried. There we go. Right along. Now it's not the best angle for this, but kind of get the idea. The main thing is to see that it's not just going to be a super simple process to get it to go through for the main one. Through. Okay. This is a little bit easier to see, so I can get it to pop up. Final lineup. Let's get a little bit of flex in there. that last one's going to be easy. Really? Usually these ones are the easiest. So you get a little bit more. Yeah, there it goes. That's it. So we can just screw on the end cap. And that's that. And we can put on the front ones. Much easier. Now when you put these on, we want to make sure these little openings are facing inward, because that's when the locking mechanism is going to come in from the inside out. There's that one. These are actually unlocked, so we can rotate, test that out real quick. Secured. Go to the next one. Again, opening facing the inside. This one's a little tight side. Here we go. Okay. And again, test this thing locked up. Nice and secure. Unlocked. And there we have it. all the hinges are in good shape. This one's ready for weathering. Now, the ones that are shipping are going to have the access plate still with these screws here, so if there is ever any issue, we can always access in here and fix any of the gearing, the mechanism. And this is just actually glued on top. There's a part that it adheres to. There we go. All set.